Hello and welcome to the Profitable Coach podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Rich, head coach at Transformation Academy. From seasoned experts sharing their hard-earned wisdom to rising stars navigating their journey, every episode uncovers the stories, strategies, and lessons behind what it takes to create massive impact and income as a coach. This show is brought to you by Transformation Academy and the Impact Coaching Collective. If you're ready to be inspired, take action, and build the coaching business of your dreams, well, then you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to episode 79 of the Profitable Coach podcast. I'm so excited for today's Impact Coaching Collective member interview with Vanessa Postnikoff. She is the creator of Identity by Design. She's been a student of mine inside the TA community now for almost half a year, and it's been so much fun to see Vanessa step into this new identity that she has as a coach, as a creator, as a founder, and I'm just so inspired by all that she's been able to create in such a short amount of time. So I knew when I was thinking about my next interview for an impact member, it had to be Vanessa. So if you want a really alternative approach to transformation from the outside in versus what we're used to hearing, the inside out, then I encourage you to listen to today's conversation. She is so enthusiastic about some of the ways that she leverages the way we cultivate space, the way we lean into our environment, the way we are sovereign with how we design our environment such that it supports the new identity we're trying to shift into. So I won't waste any more of your time. Please welcome to the show, the one and only Vanessa Postnikoff. Welcome back to the Profitable Coach podcast. Today is super fun. I love these episodes because it is one of our Impact Coaching Collective member highlights. And Vanessa is one of my closest members, one of my friends, and someone that I just really wanted to celebrate on today's conversation. So Vanessa and everyone who's joining live in our live Zoom room, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about my passion.
Yeah. Okay. So Vanessa, I feel like you are a Jane of all trades, and not in the bad way. Like sometimes that saying has a negative connotation because it's like, surface level, good at so many things. But I feel like you have a deep knowledge of a lot of important parts of what makes someone shift their identity, what makes someone feel better from the outside in. And you're the first person I've ever heard to coin that phrase. So tell people, what does that even mean to you?
It's, well, I wish that I could just tell you in 2 words that it was like salutogenesis. I wish that everybody knew exactly what that was. And my ultimate goal is to be so loud that in a couple years, everybody does know what that is, even though it's been existing since the 1970s.
What is that word?
Salutogenesis.
Tell
So
us more.
yeah. So it is just the opposite of pathology. So instead of looking inside of ourselves, thinking what's wrong, is it hormones causing this headache? Is it a nutrients deficiency? Like, what is it? We look at the environment and to see what we can do to create well-being within ourselves. So maybe the headache's coming from the lighting. Maybe it's you need more sleep. So it's just how your external affects your internal. So yeah, that's
How do you spell that word?
okay. That's funny because I can barely spell it. So Saluto Genesis, salutogenesis.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And
S-A-L.
yeah.
Wow, I've never heard this, but I'm going to make sure and have it in the show notes for anyone else who's like, what are we talking about here? So how did
And
you even find this?
um well, when you're looking up and you deep dive, I like to deep dive. When I love something, I go.
Same.
And when I first would work with my clients and would see the commonality between being overwhelmed and overstimulated and exhausted, and analysis paralysis is what I call when you can't even make a decision because you just brain fry. When I saw how empowered and how clear-minded they got after they were organized, I thought, oh my gosh, like I thought maybe this person had some deeper things going on more than just the organizing. But they were so clear-minded after that I started to study the brain more and more. And I just loved that and neuroplasticity and changing habits. So in my deep dive, I came across it and an old study. and then saw a word also called salutogenic intervention, which
Mm.
I feel when it's common, that will be my real title. I'm a salutogenic interventionist. But
Mm.
yeah, until then, I say I am a professional organizer, coach, consultant.
Yeah, tell us more about the organizing. So for anyone who's not familiar with your work, how did that start? What does that mean? And then what has the evolution looked like?
Okay. So it started in 2009. I was actually taking a interior design course, which was after I was a hairstylist. So I started in cosmetology. And then I took that interior design course, but in the midst of that, I was having my fourth baby. So I had him and I didn't have enough bedrooms. So all of a sudden it became instantly apparent to me that the the most important thing for design for me was functionality. So I shifted stopped that course, didn't finish it, which I did, but I didn't finish it at that time, and then took the organizing. And I feel like the rest is history. But this is a time when Pinterest wasn't even really big yet. I think it was just starting. So I had to get creative, and I feel like all my ideas that I was doing in 2009 are now on there. But I know that I did them.
Okay, so you started organizing for yourself as a form of function. Like you needed to rewrite what was happening inside the spaces of your home. And I'm hearing you say that it was so impactful for you personally that you were like, I want to help other people with that. How did you
Yeah.
start getting your first clients?
So then I joined the NAPO community, which I'm Canadian, so that's interesting. That's a National Association of Professional Organizers. And because community is very important as you're learning, and they'll tell you, you go out and you start with friends and family, and then once you get comfortable, the exact same approach actually to coaching. Then once you feel good, you start charging, you charge more later, charge by the job versus the package, that's up to you, but just these different things. So I started to do that, build my confidence, referrals started coming in, and then that's it.
Yeah. So my story is that some of the blocks that might come up for people when you're helping them declutter or remove, maybe even like if it's reached a hoarder status, right? Like that's kind of the extreme, but some of the blocks and the stories and the resistances can be kind of similar to what we might face as coaches. Do you want to share some of the top issues or roadblocks that you ran into as an organizer?
Oh yeah. And I have to say though, I get a flood of different stories because as much as you think you've heard it all, the only commonality is that there's a roadblock because it could be situational where someone passed away and they're grieving and they're holding on to this stuff. Well, and then they feel like they don't have the energy or the capacity to do it. It could be an illness. It could be just skills. They didn't learn it. It could be an opposite skill where they were taught to have a lot of stuff or witnessed having a lot of stuff and they're mimicking. So there's so many things, brain injuries, just different reasons for everybody to be in a situation to call me. But the one common thing is they tried, they know it's all over Pinterest. You can find ways, but they just needed those extra hands.
Okay, so because I've been in the coaching world for so long, it's very hard for me to hear these and not make the parallel between what these stories are that people are giving Vanessa and what I hear in coaching. So the injury or the illness is a belief about their own identity, what they are capable of. Okay. So sometimes in coaching, people think they can't change because the change that they want just doesn't align with how they currently see themselves. So if they see themselves as too sick or unable to change, they're going to reinforce that. If it is a loss in the family, then it's like, okay, I'm so overwhelmed by lifing, that I don't have the bandwidth to move towards my goals, my dreams, or my desires. So that can be a roadblock that we come up against. So it's kind of always like a different version of a few things: belief about ourself, belief about what's possible in the world at all, or belief about whether or not we have the support to make it happen. So just like you said, how to do this, it's on Pinterest. You can find YouTube videos how to declutter your home, but it was seeking out an actual form of accountability and mentorship in you that allowed people to really make shifts. So for anyone who's listening live or listening later, I hope you're able to start to see like the parallels between any kind of transformation or identity shift, be it your outside space, your home, or your inner world.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
All
I
right.
love.
So organizing paved the way for coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have an entire brand that focuses on so many different things, some of which we were talking about before I hit record. So let's keep going along Vanessa's journey. When did coaching come into the picture?
Well, uh, okay, so I joined the Thrive 2025 challenge. So I think I signed up in November and it maybe started December or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And when I listened, same as you, but backwards, I realized the language and all that was very much that's what I was bringing into my organizing practice. And but I had like three personas because I did notice that in all the clients, I could narrow it down to about three categories. They either needed the nurturer for their situation, which was, they just wanted more patience. I would talk a little slower, give them more processing time to make a decision, but not too much. We're not going to do paralysis where you get burnt out. So, and a lot of positive reinforcement and good job in a gentle way. Then there's the bestie. Some people just need the motivation. That's what Pinterest wasn't giving them, right? They gave the how, but they weren't like, oh yeah, you're right. Yes, do it. They just wanted permission to let go of what they needed to. And then there's the drill sergeant. And I like these because they're not as common, but they're the ones that are like, I don't even want to make a decision. Just tell me what I need to do. And I'm like, okay. So sometimes I might accidentally bring that into my community here. But I come by honestly. Some people want the answers. So I just, yeah, I just give them kind of more directional, a more directional approach.
Yeah. So what Vanessa's doing really well there, which we teach inside of Coach with Confidence, along with some of our other programs, is mirroring what the client is asking for, like putting on these different archetypes, these different coaching personas to serve them at the highest level. Because someone's going to respond really poorly to the drill sergeant, while someone else is going to respond really poorly to the nurturer, right? And so being able to like meet people where they're at is a really fun part of your brand. I love it.
Yeah.
So again, organizing, you've got clients, word of mouth is popping for you. It's really easy for people to tell their friends about you because the results kind of speak for themselves, and you've been able to grow the business without having to have too much of an online presence. But you find Thrive in 2025, you discover coaching, and identity by design didn't even exist at that point. So how did that start to come into your field?
Ah, okay. So I just want to just tap into one thing that
Yeah.
I actually took my first coaching course, the Happiness Life Coaching course before COVID. And that was because I would notice that some people around me uh, I was calling like, I would say like Eeyore, like I didn't want to say any negative, but that vibe.
Yeah.
And I actually just felt bad for them. And I don't know why I think I should feel bad for someone who isn't feel happy. And there's a grace period. I understand everyone has a day, a week, a month, whatever. But when you see overall, so I thought I need an excuse to be able to approach someone and say, oh, did you know? And so I took the course, and would you believe they happened to be in my space, happened to talk to me about some personal things. I gave them some personal mantras. And then another friend said to me, I don't know what you did with so and so, but she is a new person. And so I thought that's pretty neat that it worked, because the whole reason I took that course was with hopes to reach out and just have a little bit of educated advice about
Yeah.
person could do. So now we fast forward. I'm on the list. I take Thrive 2025 because of that course. They sent me an email and invited me to it. And then I just wanted to make some goals. I knew I was ready for change, but I wasn't sure exactly what. So I thought I'll just take it, make some goals, and see what happens. Well, then I met you and the community and the accountability, and it actually just feels like a blur, but in like such a positive way. It just kind of all came together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you went from showing up at the coaching breakout sessions inside Impact to becoming the embodiment of this new coach slash organizing expert that you are. You redesigned your backdrop. You came up with identity by design. You joined the winner circle. So what moments over the past 6 months have felt like really pivotal, transformative shifts in how you see yourself as a coach?
Okay. I see myself very competent in the sense of knowing that I honed in on the things that I was already doing and that I already knew. If I was just to call myself a coach, which is why it took me so long to say coach, do you remember that? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm just an organizer, but it took me a long time until I realized that coaching is just that, right? Having the skills and the ability to do what I was already doing is guiding them to have their answers, unless it's the drill sergeant mode. But um, so yeah, I would say that my biggest though exciting moment was uh, putting my two passions together. So like I said, I started in cosmetology, image consulting, and then mixing organizing. And sometimes I would, in my own life, weigh more towards one than the other. But as soon as I did one too much, I missed the other one, and then vice versa. So the fact that I took the future self course and was able to, because you practically made us come up with this plan. At first, I was just kind of kidding, like, what if I merged the two worlds? How would I ever? And then one day it just hit me as like, oh, this actually goes together way more than it doesn't. So I made that plan and made it my truth. And now I feel like I'll never live without it.
And so what does it look like for someone to come and work with you? What does that journey look like for them?
Okay. So obviously though, first of all, someone wants change, right? So they have to want it and believe it that it can happen, because they're not quite ready. And this might sound harsh, but because I've worked with a lot of people who thought they were ready for change, but then didn't necessarily want it, I know now that I can say, when you're ready for me and you're ready for change, call me. So when we're there, we look first into what version of themselves do they want to mirror? So a huge part of identity by design is masking versus mirroring. I
Mm.
want people to be unique and I want people to shine and feel beautiful. And my favorite part is defining what that means and finding out what that means to them, and really getting them to tap in what a beautiful life would be for them. And that's visualization, and then walking through a great day, what it would be like in their perfect world. A work day and a day off, what are you doing? And then
Yeah.
I make sure that we make the environment support that version of them and their style to support that version of them. And there's no cookie cutter, like there's no one right answer. So I just really want to just stress the fact that it's to showcase the parts of you that you want to highlight, and all your quirks that you think you needed to hide. Oh no, we do not hide those. That's what makes you beautiful. So I think it's
Tell
fun.
me more.
Most
Tell me
fun job.
more about the difference between mirroring and masking, because you
Oh,
noted that there's a distinction there.
huge, huge. Masking is when you feel like you'll be judged. So you want to hide certain character traits,
Mm.
certain aspects of your life, or certain situations. And it's very tricky because there's a fine line. You want to own who you are, but you want to choose your identity. Because if you put the spotlight and feed something that you don't love, like say it's an illness, or say, or a diagnosis, and you know I'm winking at you. I can't say any names, but you know I'm winking at you here today. Someone who's really honing in. She's a perfect example of a client that would say, hey, this is who I was told I was, but this is who I'm choosing to be. And that's why choice and believing you can is very important in my work. So we put a spotlight on the things that you want, that maybe some people would mask parts of. And so no hiding, but we don't want to feed the parts either that you don't want to grow. So it's not hiding them, it's choosing to mirror and reveal the best parts of you that you want to take forward.
Mm.
Masking is negative, where you feel judgment and you're only hiding it and it's exhausting.
Love that. Yeah. So we were talking before we hit the record button and let everyone else into the room about some other like really specific and dare I say unique offerings that you provide for people. Do you want to share? I'm kind of an open book.
Oh,
We were talking about my dating life. And because Vanessa, like I said, Vanessa's a friend. So we were talking about, just having a quick catch up. And she was like, well, if and when you want any support in how you are positioning yourself, like aesthetically, outwardly, let me know. There are really distinct things that you can do in your presence, your online presence, in as specific as like your photographs that could shift that. So tell me more about like, say we have a session together, Vanessa. What would that mean? What would that look like?
so I would say, what are you lacking? What do you want to change? So this is after you already know your identity, because that's
Okay.
going to be our foundation when we walk through it and get you to discover who exactly you want to become, right? So then we say, okay, how are you going to get there? Let's just say you're single. Want to use that one? Can we keep playing on that?
Let's
Okay.
play with it.
So you say, well, I'm single and I'm really looking for somebody. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is to clear out from under your bed. And so,
Mm.
and someone's like, well, I'm using that for storage. Yeah, that's proven to not be the best because we need some good energy flow around your bed. So I would love now to ask you, Kimberly, but it's probably not appropriate if you have anything under your bed. So, and then
I
sometimes,
just moved and now I don't. I used to, but now I don't because my new bed doesn't, my new king size bed, hey, doesn't allow for it.
hey, two things with that. I'm so glad you said king size bed because I have to share something with you. But the other thing is, did you have something under your bed in the past house?
Yes.
Question: did you are you having better success in a space now that coincidentally you don't have anything under your bed? Better.
I would say yes.
Hmm. So what this is called is actually, I also study Feng Shui, and that is from the late 90s, just surface level, meaning your personal qua number. Like I
Do you
won't build a
think
house.
quad or
Qua,
qua?
KAU, qua number. So it's a little calculator, and then you find out your best directions and what your positive and your auspicious directions, your good luck directions, your bad luck directions. We make sure your head is in the right area, and then we enhance the areas that you want. So in a relationship one, we would find out what area that is for you, and then if it's like the north, we'll put some water in there because north is water. And if you don't want a water fountain, we could do blues or blacks because those are the colors associated with it. So that's some feng shui principles into it. So as you were saying, your imagery. So if you have pictures of a single lady around your house, you might want to paste on a male or switch it out. Just because if you have a lot of single images, your brain, this goes back to everything I do, believes what it sees and it will do everything to support that. And so that's why you just have to make sure that everything around you is telling your brain couples, togetherness, open for love.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tips and tricks.
I love that. Yeah, it's such a, you've mentioned this on other calls before, and it really resonates that subconsciously we're picking up cues from the environment. So, what are the cues that our environment is giving us? And I'd love to hear some other ways that you have helped clients or could help clients to subliminally cue them towards what they want. And like, what are some examples of that?
Okay. So for instance, if I'll talk about the one who wants to be healthy, right? So the first place we'll probably do then is the kitchen and just set it up to be a space that really promotes the vision of you, that opens your fridge and it's categorized and there's meal prep items. So, you shop and you buy the containers and that becomes your new hobby is meal prepping and your new identity is like, I'm a meal prepper.
Mm.
Kind of own into that. So it's sorry, it's such a vague question, but that is one. Relationship one was another one. Uh, I had a baker turn artist. She needed to keep everything, she thought, everything. There was no room for anything else because she was a baker, was a baker, was a baker. By the time we were done Future Self, she showed me that in her closet, she had all this artwork and all this painting supplies. And that's actually what she wanted to do. And I just gave her permission to let go of the baker. So we set up an easel. by the window, just made her a nice space that was easy accessible. You want what your passions are to be easy, to be in sight, to be a calm space, inspiring for you. So,
Yeah, you're taking so much of what we talk about inside Future Self and you're just bringing it to the 3D, right? So we go over in the Future Self life coaching certification, okay, what is the identity of future you? The future you that is having everything you want to have, being everything you want to be. Like, describe that person. And then now we're literally curating the environment that supports only that. So if you are a healthy person as your future ideal self, you don't have chips in the house. You don't have a tub of ice cream. Like, you don't have these things that align with the old identity and not the new identity. And so I think there's a lot of little subtle cues. I mean, I've heard before in terms of dating, if your bed is in the corner, move it out. Make sure you have space for two humans to be walking on either side of it, two nightstands. Like, make sure there's space in your closet for another person to come in. Make sure that there's space in your schedule for another person to come in. And I'm curious, um, what other ways besides the environment, but maybe like their clothing and things like that that you support, and how do you combat anyone's objections around like, well, I don't have all the money in the world to buy a new wardrobe, Vanessa.
oh, I love this. Okay, but before I go on, I just want to say if you have a king size, if you have box springs, like so sometimes they come with two twin box springs, but if you don't have a box spring, that's fine. But if you do, you have to tie red ribbon because the box spring, the energy divide of two underneath you isn't good. So just make sure you put red ribbon for those who have a king size box spring, two twins. Okay. So going forward,
I love this. You're so fun.
I just didn't want to forget because what if you do and then I didn't help? Okay.
No box spring over here, so we're good.
Okay, okay. See, this is how far back I go. We had box springs for our king mattresses
I
back.
remember box spring.
Okay, I should update myself sometimes. But okay, so in the closet, so important. So you know the 80-20 rule for like everything? That includes your clothes. 80% of the time you'll wear 20% of your clothes. So um, the once you know who your future self is, it's so fun because then it makes my actual organizing life so easy because suddenly you walk into your closet and it's easy. Was she wearing it? No, she would not wear this. There's just something about being stuck in the now of, oh, maybe someday. Well, guess what disappears when you know who someday is. So
Mm.
that's what has been my favorite piece about my organizing hack. And actually, I don't even want any other organized to hear this because that is my secret sauce for organizing. So suddenly these clothes, no, no, no. If you have a t-shirt that means something to you, but you know you shouldn't wear it, then maybe you can wear it for painting because it's okay to have the cutest painting shirt and get some paint on it. So you can upgrade that, but you just have to get rid of the stuff that no longer serves her or that she wouldn't wear. You still need different versions, like the gardening dirty version, fair, but still feel good in it.
Mm.
Because your brain will always support kind of what you're telling it through the visuals, right? We just spoke about that. So when you're wearing things that make you feel good, you're saying, I'm worth it. And your choices actually change because you're going to support things that you're worth it. And there is proof that when you have this calm, in control mindset, you're more apt when you go to grab a snack to grab something healthy, like the carrot sticks over the crackers. That was literally the study was when you grab a cracker versus a carrot stick. And it's the
Mm.
control mindset. Because once your prefrontal cortex is overloaded, the decision making, the fatigue, that's when everything kicks in. So we tell ourselves we're worth it because it's proven when you dress nice and you show up, you teach people how to treat you. And then because they're treating you well, because you're looking good, you're feeling good, so they're responding to that, then how kind and wonderful they respond to you, or just respect. Maybe it's not even kind, but just a respect level. Then you like that. So then you respond even better. And now it's suddenly worth it, right? So now you're like, actually, I thought getting up 20 minutes earlier and just smoothing out my hair or taking the time to go for that haircut, I thought it was a waste of time or money, but now I see it's a self-fulfilling cycle.
Yeah, well, because what you're describing is called the Pygmalion effect. It's essentially like we treat people how to treat us, and then how they treat us reinforces what we believe about ourselves what we believe about ourselves indicates how we train people how to treat us. And so it's this feedback loop, right? And I would love to know, what is the like progression when someone comes to work with you? What areas of their life do we start making over first? Or like, what are the first steps?
Okay, biggest calamity. So really it depends on them and what is their biggest goal. So if there is somebody who really wants to have friends over but hasn't felt proud enough to showcase their home, then we would start in the living room area and the kitchen area to make sure that it was a nice hosting. And that means their bedroom may be a disarray, but you close the door and it's okay. We'll get there. So it really depends on the person and what they want first, if that makes sense. But always in alignment is image and at least a couple outfits, like 2 outfits for when you step out as your new version of yourself, your best version. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait. I don't know that we got to the answer of, what do you say to people who have the money objection when it's
oh
like,
yeah,
okay, we're
no,
remaking. What are we doing here?
I remembered that, and I was going to come back to it because it's like the mattress, right? So here's my favorite part. So once you're decluttering and you know what's going to serve future you and what's not, you can then sell the things that you no longer need because you really put value on it. It's just your idea of what the value is. It may be worth something to someone, maybe worth zero to the next guy, but you can take the time, make that, and you'd be surprised how fast you can get $200 just to get a couple key statement pieces. And I always say start with that. Get something little that reminds you, like a little token, like a jewelry.
Mhm.
It could even be cheap earrings, but if they make you smile, put them on every day. Something that you're comfortable in. They don't have to be fancy. Stay true to you, but just like the best version of you, right? So just switch out key pieces, and please, people, even though no one's looking, wear pajamas that make you feel beautiful. And there's just something to be said about that too. That's how you start your day. It's how you end it, but it's also how you start it. So it's worth just putting a little extra in. You don't have to wear your extra old t-shirt. There's a time for that, painting. And then just feel good in, and less stuff that, but everything should feel intentional.
I love that. How do you help people start to be more intentional and break through the habit of what they're just used to doing? They have the inertia of 40 years of doing it that way. How do we start to introduce these new, more intentional food choices, clothing choices, etc.?
Oh, I love this so much. But this is a loaded question because we have so many situations and so many different character types. But I'll tell you, habit changing. There's 3 things. It's called differential reinforcement. I don't know how many people, differential reinforcements.
No, tell
Oh,
us.
it's just about what type of reinforcement and what type of reward system and what we need to do. So habit changing. The first thing we need to do is, do we need to get rid of the habit altogether? Cold turkey. Is it that bad? Do we just need to just lessen the habit, right? Or do we need to replace the habit? So if you're using food, for example, maybe we'll see what works for them. If say, did anything ever work in the past for you? If they've been a yo-yo dieter and they had some success, we'll figure out what worked in the past, what we're going to leave behind. And so if anything worked, we'll bring that forward. But it might be cold turkey. Maybe they say, I can't even have one cookie. If I have one, I'll have 100. Okay, well, we won't have any. So that we'll take that away. And taking it away, that's a negative reinforcement because you're taking something away. But if they say, oh, if I do really good in the day, I'd love to have one little snack at the end of the day, then we will add something that's a positive reinforcement for your habit. So you might say, okay, if I go all day, then I get to have my 200 calorie score bar. I don't know if you have that, but for Heath bar for you US people. Then you added something for your reward. So that's a positive one. And then or a lesson one might just say, hey, I'm going to eat healthy for this many days, the 80-20 rule maybe. And then this day I have off guilt-free. So I lessen the days that I eat junk.
Love it. I love it. As we're chatting, my eye keeps being drawn up to the Identity by Design TM, and it reminds me that there are so many so many things that you've done over the past 6 months to really step into the ownership of this new chapter, of this new role. What were some of those like pivotal identity shifting, identity by design moments for you as a coach?
As a coach, sorry, I'm let's see if I understand.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So you got the trademark. You signed up for future self-life coaching certification. Like, how have you been basically living what you
mm,
teach as you
mm,
step into the identity of coach?
well, you know, secretly I've been living what I teach a long, long, long time. That's how I even ended up uh, surviving. So, um, so once I came into the TA community, though, this is where my big pivotal moment is, and I hope I'm answering your question. That I always knew, I just didn't know, and there was a name for it, about making a blueprint for the best version of you. I didn't know the word future self, but I
Mm.
turned out because of my childhood, that's what I was secretly doing. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna do it. This is how I'm not gonna do it. And I was always naturally a planner and creating a blueprint. So I just knew that. Was I going to tell anybody? No, because then I'd have to admit things. But then when I came into this beautiful TA community and it's like, no, your mess is your message. I got so excited. I feel like if I could watch that call when I first heard you say it, I think I got so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many messages. This is so exciting. And so yeah, it just you shifted my mind. And you know what? And I know you do that for so many, and I could go on and on about that. But so coming into here, and then you realize you just own being you, and that makes it easy. So that's all I did was I just said, it's okay to be me, and I'm gonna tap in on that. And that's what I did.
Mm. Yeah. A couple other things that I have noticed you doing is partnering with people, like leveraging other members to have co-working calls, to deep dive on your programs, to funnel test each other's stuff and trade coaching, like so many different things like that. Is there anything that I'm leaving out so we can inspire other listeners? It's like you want to create the kind of transformation that Vanessa has in 6 months, do what Vanessa's done. Like, what would that blueprint be?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, just connect with people because that's the beautiful thing about this community is we're all so different, but we are all so like-hearted. And I feel like that is such a safe place. That's such a beautiful place. It's such a creative place. And yeah, you really get to just be yourself. And then the more you practice doing that, the more you hone in on like, uh, we're all so wonderful. This is just great. And then it just kind of gives you your own momentum.
Yeah, I love it. So, what are you working on right now? What's something that you are launching or
Yes.
have already launched?
So identity by design, I am kind of just finishing my clients, my in-person clients, and I'll go 100% online as of September 1st. So it's not even launched yet for the public, but I'm just finishing this up because I didn't really mention that it's naturally kind of a phase two of the organizing clients, right? So that, and then so that's my like pilot study all done, and then
Yeah.
we'll do that, and then I want a community because I saw the value in this, and I want to do live organizing sessions. This is where my heart and soul just really get excited if I could host organizing and style sessions. So have monthly subscribers that will get something to do with style, something to do with organizing and to do that and Q&A, live Q&A, but also something creative because we know the power of connecting with nature and to connect with your creative self to calm the nervous system, which is the secret to everything good, is having that calm mind.
I love it. I love it. When do you want to have the community open?
September 1st.
September 1st, we're going to launch the community. Amazing. Let's start telling people about it now. Do you
Okay.
have a landing page that we could send people in the show notes to go get on the wait list?
Yes. So the only thing is Google sold to Squarespace. So there's a little bit of a broken link. But if you go to my Transformation Academy profile page, you'll see a link you can hit. It used to be prettier and shorter, but now it's a long, funny link. But
That's
when you,
okay. We can put that in the show notes. Make it
okay,
short and pretty.
perfect. And so when that happens, then you'll go and you'll see a podcast tab and you can hit there and that will take you to my Substack. And once you subscribe to that, you'll get any kind of information, and I'll give you a free 7-day workbook.
Okay, so I'm gonna give Vanessa some free coaching.
Yeah, thanks.
Listen up. We're gonna shorten this process. We're gonna give people a direct link to your Substack
Good.
or wherever you collect emails.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm gonna say to you. I want you collecting their emails, and maybe once they're on your email list, you can send them over to your Substack.
Ah,
You don't
okay.
on the email. So I'm saying this for everyone. The goal is always to collect emails because emails you own. Subscribers on podcasts, Substack, Instagram, Facebook, followers, etc. You don't own them, and they can be taken away from you at any time.
Yeah.
We're
I
gonna
was
work on this inside Winner Circle. Okay.
Yes. Okay, let's do that, because I was also hoping to send them to my website, so if they wanted to click my like Zoom link to like book
Yep.
me, that they could. But this
Yep.
is TA,
This
so
is good though. I love this conversation because what you're saying is probably something that a lot of people here are listening. They're like, yeah, I want them to go to my website because that's where all my stuff is.
yeah.
But we don't want people to be exposed to all your stuff. We only want people to go to the exact place where they give you their email in exchange for something. And then once they're in your world, you're continuously pointing them back to like more stuff that you have on the website, the Substack, all that. But only after we've taken advantage of the very limited attention that they're giving us and collected that email. I'm seeing people here live nodding. Hopefully this is landing. Okay, cool. Because I
Yeah.
used to be you too. I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna put all of my social links at the bottom of my website. And it was like, no, no, no. Everything should really just be pointing back to what can they pay me for if they've already given me their email? And if not, what can they give me their email for so that I can eventually sell to them?
Hmm.
Because if I
Okay,
don't sell to them, I can't help them.
I love it.
I'm going
See?
to say that again. And hopefully the people here will write that down. If I don't sell to them, I can't help them. If I don't make an offer, if I don't put myself out there, I don't make a sale, make a pitch, I can't help them. So thank you for letting me coach you and
Oh,
I can't
thank
wait to
you. And
dial this funnel for you.
yeah, I love it. I have time, so it's yeah, this is good. I want to do it right. September 1st. So thank you.
Well, and I really want to acknowledge how inspiring your messy inspired action has been over the 6 months and to see you just like show up inside future self, show up inside impact, show up inside the winner circle. I mean, there's just so many containers that I've gotten to witness your radiance in and your generosity. And that's why I think you have so many people here live and they're nodding and they're smiling and they're taking notes because they resonate with who you are, and who you are is going to be able to help so many people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you want to share before we take questions from the audience?
Well, one thing we didn't hit on is the importance of seasonal decor.
Ooh, do tell.
Okay, so as I do love to put a twist or know the why behind some things. So I just knew that I love seasonal decor, and I knew I'd love to switch up my space. But as I deep dove, I saw that connecting your environment to nature and having that reset and alignment with the seasons is part of helping slow down the nervous system, right? And it causes your environment not to feel stagnant. So it's a very affordable way to refresh, renew, and kind of feel it out, just like you wouldn't put a gorilla in a zoo and just hope that they survive off food. They're going to enrich their environment by giving them different toys to play with, by switching the environment around sometimes. So we have to remember how primitive we are too, or primal we are too, I guess. Is that right? But we have to tap into that and switch things around so that we don't get bored. Because when you're bored, you get in your head, and then that's when it's not fun. And my business is fun.
I love it. Yeah, Tony Robbins says, if you're in your head, you're dead.
There you go, right?
So
And
I think
and
it's going back to the intentional aspect of what you're doing. It's like be proactive about your space, be proactive about the way that you dress yourself so that it signals to your brain the type of thoughts and emotions that you want to be feeling and thinking.
yes. And so because then when you have that, then you have the capacity to do the internal transformations, because I understand that all the fixes aren't external. but they sure set you up to make those internal transformations happen. And for those non-believers, I'm just going to say that if you've ever done a visualization practice, I'm just going to say that that's what you're doing. You're trying to see it. So I just make sure that your environment matches your vision that you were seeing. So when you open your eyes and your environment matches, then it's going to happen way faster than when you open your eyes and it says, well, I'm not there yet. So your environment tells you, I am capable. This is manageable. I got this.
I love it. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you for being here. Everyone, please be sure and check out the show notes so we can get access to more of Vanessa's magic. We'll have everything linked up. And to everyone who joined us live, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support in the live chat. It was so fun. And hopefully we'll have you back in the future, 1 year from now, hearing about how your journey continued, how Identity by Design has just blown up. People are changing their spaces, both externally and internally, all over the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all of our members who were live for today's interview with Vanessa. If you want to get access to all the information that we talked about, please head over to theprofitablecoach.com/079. There you can get more access to Vanessa and her unique Identity by Design method and everything else that we talked about in today's show. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this co-creation that is the Profitable Coach Podcast. If you want those resources, it's at theprofitablecoach.com/079.